Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Monica here, and we're going to read a book today about Zion Williamson. That's right, the number one draft pick, currently playing for the New Orleans Saints. I like to choose books that are complementary to our theme, and we are focusing on the city of New Orleans, the food, the culture, and arts, everything that makes New Orleans what it is. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can pull up this awesome book about Zion. Now, some of you all remember we had the opportunity to go to the Children's Museum to attend a party with the Pelicans over the New Year Eve's holiday. So some of us had the chance to meet him, and wonderful person. Just so happy for everything that's going on with him and the team, and we're looking for an awesome season. All right, so this book is by Ryan Williamson. This action-packed biography gives readers an inside look at the career of the basketball superstar Zion Williamson. So let's go right into it. Excuse me, my sinuses are cutting up today, but we're going to make it through. All right. Chapter 1, Beating the Heels. The North Carolina Tar Heels were just trying to set up their offense, but Zion Williamson had other ideas. The Duke Blue Devils forward stepped in front of a Tar Heel pass and took off the other way. Williamson was all alone as he threw down a one-handed dunk. He yelled to pump up the crowd. The fans roared. Duke's rivalry with North Carolina dates back to 1920. Less than 10 miles separate the schools. Any game between them is a big deal, but this March 2019 game was one of the biggest. Number 5, Duke featured Williamson and 2 other highly skilled freshmen. Only the third-ranked Tar Heels stood in the way of Duke reaching the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament title game. The score was close throughout the second half. North Carolina led 73-72 with only 35 seconds left. Williamson put up a short shot with a defender in his face. The ball bounced off the rim. Players from both teams fought for the rebound. Williamson outjumped them and grabbed the ball. Then he tipped it back toward the hoop. This time it went in. Williamson's shot gave Duke the lead. The Blue Devils held on to defeat their rivals 74-73. One of the sport's brightest stars came up big when it mattered the most. So let's see what they have in red. Williamson did some of his best work close to the basket against the Tar Heels. Let's see, following it up, the day after beating North Carolina, Duke played in the ACC tournament final against Florida State. Williamson scored a game high of 21 points as Duke won 73-63 to claim the title. Williamson was named the tournament's most valuable player for his performance. All right, so starting at a young age, Zion Williamson was born in Salisbury, North Carolina on July 6, 2000. His mother named him after Mount Zion. This is a famous mountain in the Middle East. His family moved to Florence, South Carolina when he was 2 years old. Zion began to play organized basketball at the age of 5. He dreamed of becoming a professional basketball player. He woke up at 5 every morning to work out. His family supported his efforts. His mother, Sharonda Sampson, coached his youth and middle school basketball teams. His stepfather, Lee Anderson, helped him practice. Anderson played college ball at Clemson. That's a college, y'all. That's a university. Clemson University. In 8th grade, Zion stood 5 feet 9 inches tall. He played point guard for his high school and summer league teams. Then, in the summer before ninth grade, he grew 5 inches. He began playing forward, and his family moved to Spartanburg, South Carolina. Zion started on the varsity team as a freshman at Spartanburg Day School. By his sophomore year, he was almost 6 feet 6 inches tall. He was already a talented dunker. He could also play point guard. Not many players his size could do both. Once Zion started dunking in games as a sophomore in high school, people took notice. Videos of his dunks went viral. NBA players talked about how impressive the dunks were. By his senior season, Zion was one of the nation's top recruits. Spartanburg Day was, come on, right? Next page. There we go. His school was a small school. Some people wondered if Zion would leave for a bigger school so that he could play with other star players. But he stayed at Spartan Day School and had a strong senior season. Let's see, he's showing off moves here at the McDonald's All-American game in 2018. Okay. During his senior year, some college coaches had concerns about Zion's weight. His muscular frame carried 250 pounds. The coaches worried his weight would keep him from being athletic enough to succeed in college. But those concerns didn't keep schools from wanting him to play for them. More than 25 schools offered him scholarships, including Clemson, where Zion's stepfather had played. Zion committed to Duke during his senior year. I see what it says about him earning national attention. Zion attracted attention from celebrities and professional athletes while in high school. NBA players Damian Lillard, maybe, and Andrew Wiggins came to watch one of his amateur athletic union games. Rapper Drake and star football player Odell Beckham Jr. each posted a photo of themselves sporting Zion High School jersey on Instagram. Meeting expectations. Expectations run high in the Duke's men's basketball program, but the 2018-19 season was special because Duke had 3 of the top freshmen in the country. When the season began, Zion Williamson wasn't even the highest rated recruit on his team. His dunk videos on YouTube made him the most famous freshman on campus. But R.J. Barrett, a forward from Canada, was the top-ranked recruit out of high school. Cam Reddish, a forward from suburban Philadelphia, rounded out the talented trio. He ranked just behind Barrett and Williamson. Duke began the season ranked number 4 in the nation. In their first game, the Blue Devils faced a huge test against second-ranked Kentucky. The Blue Devils put on a show for a sellout crowd in Indianapolis. Williams showed his athletic ability with amazing dunks. He finished with 28 points as Duke blew out Kentucky 118-84. The Blue Devils showed they were capable of knocking off the nation's best. As the season went on, Williamson continued to display his remarkable skills. He scored 35 points against Syracuse. That set a school record for points in a game by a freshman. He went viral after he jumped and spun around, completing before dunking on a fast break against Clemson. Later that season, Williamson raced out from near the basket to block a 3-point attempt from the corner. That move came in a big game against conference rival Virginia. Duke quickly took over the top spot in the rankings on the way to a 23-2 start. Then on February 20th, the Blue Devils faced their biggest rival, number 8 North Carolina. The atmosphere at Duke's Cameron Indoor Stadium was electric. Even former U.S. President Barack Obama attended the game. But the excitement that had built for the big game almost immediately turned to disappointment. Just 36 seconds into the game, Williamson tried to quickly change directions. He planted his foot. The sole of his shoe stuck to the ground, but his foot tore through the front of the shoe. Williamson injured his knee. He had to leave the game. Duke lost 88-72 without him. Let's see what they say about the shoe malfunction. Okay, let's see. I have to move my screen, you guys. Bear with me, okay? A shoe malfunction. Williamson injury caused controversy. Nike, the shoe manufacturer, was heavily criticized, but others blamed Williamson for wearing a shoe that wasn't made for bigger players. People also debated whether Williamson should keep playing after he recovered. Some thought that the risk of the injury was not worth risking his NBA future. Let's continue to read to see what happens. We know what happened. Power and grace. Zion Williamson is known for his ferocious dunks. One of his most famous came on January 5th, 2019 in a game against Clemson. Williamson stole the ball at midcourt and raced to the hoop. With nobody in his way, he decided to give the fans extra for their money. He did a complete 360, spinning in a full circle before throwing down a powerful left-hand dunk. Okay. March and beyond. Zion Williamson did not play again in the regular season for Duke, but he still won the ACC's Player of the Year award. He averaged 21.6 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game. He returned to the floor in the ACC tournament. Williamson looked better than ever. In his first game back, he made all 13 of his shots and scored 29 points in a win against Syracuse. Then the Blue Devils knocked off North Carolina, getting revenge for 2 regular season losses to the Tar Heels. Finally, they beat Florida State to win the ACC tournament title. The Blue Devils entered the NCAA tournament as the number 1 seed in the East region. Duke was a popular pick to win it all, but it was a tough road for the Blue Devils. They had an easy win in the first round against North Dakota State, but then Duke had its hands full with a tough Central Florida team. Williamson scored 32 points and grabbed 11 rebounds as Duke held on to the win 77-76. In the Sweet 16, Duke pulled out another close win against Virginia Tech. Up next was Michigan State in the regional final. Williamson scored a game-high 24 points, but the Blue Devils suffered a heartbreaking 68-67 point loss. Duke came up 1 game short of the Final Four. Even so, Williamson still had much to celebrate. He earned a number of National Player of the Year awards. Williamson then had to decide whether to stay at Duke or enter the NBA draft. It was an easy decision. He declared for the draft on April 15th. His 1 year with the Blue Devils had proven to be one of the most memorable seasons in college basketball history. Heading into the draft, most experts thought Williamson would be the top pick. On May 14th, the New Orleans Pelicans got the first overall pick in the NBA draft lottery. The speculation soon began over whether the Pelicans would take Williamson or trade the pick. In the end, the Pelicans held on and chose Williamson with the first pick of 2019. He was joining a team that had just traded its biggest star, center Anthony Davis. Williamson would be one of six new players, including two other first round picks who were key parts of the Pelicans' rebuilding plans. Williamson said he was excited to move to New Orleans and get to work with his new teammates. On the draft night, he had one simple message for the Pelicans fans: let's dance. All right, guys. So, this was the story of Zion Williamson and his college basketball career, along to him starting with the New Orleans Pelicans. So we will continue to see what the seasons have in store for him as a part of the team. And we thank New Orleans and the Pelicans for their team, for their support with the Boys and Girls Clubs. Thank you guys for joining me for this reading. I hope you enjoy. Bye.